Okay, well now we're going to pick right back up where we left off on drawing the human face using correct proportions. The last time we talked, we had just finished up drawing the nose, and we had talked about the space underneath the nose, how there's two little lines that come down underneath the nose, underneath the septum, which is the bone that separates the two nostrils, and these two lines will connect into a bowl that forms the upper lip. Now, when we're drawing the mouth, remember that the middle mouth line, the part where the talk goes out and the food goes in, the part that's in between the upper lip and the bottom lip, this line is 1/3 of the distance from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. If we measured that distance from the nose to the chin, put our pencil tip here at the bottom of the nose and put our finger right here at the mouth line, it would be a 1, 2, 3. That's if we're looking at a person head on. We're not looking up at them. We're not looking down at them. We're looking at them eye to eye. Okay? So what we're going to do is first, we're going to focus on the middle mouth line. Now, the middle mouth line is, when it's at rest, it doesn't curve up. It actually goes kind of downward. I'm going to show you on this piece of paper here where I was practicing noses earlier. But the middle mouth line, usually it's going to have a little bit of a curve like so. It's going to come up a little bit, and then it's going to go downward like so. When a mouth is at rest, it actually goes downward, not upward. Now, this is the middle mouth line right here. I'll make that a little darker so that you can see it a little bit better in case the lighting's a little too much in here. Okay? And this is actually going to be the darkest line in the entire mouth. The lines that we're going to use for the upper lip and the bottom lip, they're actually implied lines. It's just the darkness of the upper lip meets the lightness of the skin, and it's an implied line, not an actual line. Now, before we actually draw this line on our human face, one thing we need to talk about is how wide mouths are. Mouths are a lot wider than we think they are. Mouths are actually, the width of the mouth is about the same length as the middle of the pupils. If we took a dotted line and took it straight down from the middle of the pupils and came straight down, that is about how wide the mouth line would be. Now, the thing you have to understand is that mouth line is not perfectly straight like that. That looks really, really long. Remember, the mouth line, it actually angles downward, okay? And another thing to remember is that the lips are actually going to taper. They're going to get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier as they come toward the end of that mouth. So it's going to look a little shorter than what it is. So if we go to this part right here, remember we said that there's usually a little bit of a curve or a little bit of a point. It's going to come up a little bit, and it's going to mildly go down. And then the same thing on this side. It's going to go up a little bit, and it's going to mildly go down, like so. Now, whenever you're drawing a person, you want to look at their actual lips. You don't want to just make it up. You want to actually look at them and see what that mouth line looks like. And of course, this is a mouth at rest. It's easier to draw a mouth at rest than it is maybe someone smiling with all their teeth. Now, we could show you how to draw someone with their teeth, but it's a little bit tricky and takes a little time. So I think just for at least beginning, starting out, I would just focus on drawing just a regular mouth and work our way up to the teeth later. And there's some tricks for that we could probably teach you at a later time. Now, when we're drawing that upper lip, up here, we talked about this little bowl right here where there's going to be two little twin peaks on each side of this bowl. And sometimes they're very pointy, and sometimes they're very, very subtle. But these lines are going to come down, and they're going to taper just a little bit as they get in toward the end of this mouth. And sometimes there might be a little bit, the middle mouth line actually might stick out a little further than where that pink or dark top lip disappears into that line. And the same thing is going to happen over here, like so. Okay? And then the bottom lip is going to taper on both sides. And then the bottom lip is always bigger than the top lip, almost always. So when you draw that bottom lip, sometimes it's going to have one simple curve, sometimes it might have a little bit of a double bump. It just depends on the person that you're drawing. But it's going to be bigger, wider here than it will be up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come on over here, and we are going to go ahead and draw this upper lip. I think I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more from my original. And I'm going to draw it. There's a peak here. It comes in, it tapers down, kind of disappears into that line. Comes down here, disappears into this line. And the bottom lip is going to be thicker. This one I'm not going to put a double bump on it. I'm just going to make kind of a curve like so. Okay. And now I've got a mouth to this face, and I might come in and smooth it out a little bit. Get rid of my guidelines. I don't need these lines anymore to guide me. And I've got a bit of a mouth. Now, to make this mouth look a little more realistic, here's some things that we can do. We know that the lips are usually darker than the skin, so we can give it just a little bit of a shade, not too much. We don't want to make it look like they're wearing like black lipstick or anything, unless they are, okay? But we'll give it a little bit of shadow, okay? And then we'll add a little more shadow on the underside of this lip and maybe the top side of this lip to make it look like, okay, this lip is actually curving in and this is curving in. And the top lip, even though it's thinner than the bottom one, it actually sticks out further than the top lip. So it's going to cast a little bit of a shadow onto these lips. And also, we can give these lips a little bit of texture. Now, we have to be kind of careful. If we curve the lines a little bit, use really light lines, curve them in just a little bit. If we get too carried away, if we get too dark with this, it makes it kind of look like they got really bad chapped lips or that maybe hair is growing out of their mouth, and that's kind of odd, okay? And then we can also draw some lines here, maybe not quite as curved, but we can put some suggested lines in here and give it a little bit of some texture. I'll draw them a little darker just so you can see it because the lighting in my camera is pretty bright, okay? And then we can also put a little bit of a line, not a real harsh one, and put a little bit of shadow here. And what this can do is if you take your finger and you feel in between your lip and your chin, there's a little divot in there. And that little divot kind of lets you know that, hey, there's a little bit of a valley or depression in there, kind of like the one we had in here, kind of like the one we had up here at the top of the bridge of the nose. It was a little bit darker up here too, if you remember that. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that to our face right now. We're going to go in, add a little bit of value to it. Keep the lines pretty close together, blend it a little bit. I usually don't use my fingers if it's a nice finished work, but this is just a demo. We'll go in, we'll darken this part of the lip, this part of the lip, okay? And then we'll add a little texture. All right, and then I'm going to erase this line here. I'm going to suggest that little valley, that little divot that is in between the bottom lip and the chin. It's going to define that. Okay. All right. Not bad, not bad. Now there's a couple other things that we're going to do before we stop this part of the video. Let's talk about ears for a minute. We are going to do some things to shape the face, but let's talk about where ears are. Ears, if you take your finger and you put it underneath your nose, between your nose and your lips, and you just bring it straight over like this, you're going to see that the bottom of your ear is somewhere in between here usually. So you can put a little line here for now and a little line here for now. And this is going to be kind of where the bottom of your ears are. Sometimes it's a little lower, a little higher, but it's usually right in between the bottom of the nose and the top of the lips, somewhere in that range, okay? And then the tops of the ears, for most people, are going to be somewhere from the tops of the eyes to the tops of the eyebrows. Somewhere in there is usually where they're going to be. I'm just going to choose in between, and I'm going to choose in between over here as well. Now, this is how low the ears are and how high the ears are going to be. But remember, the ears are not going to take this entire space. They're not going to do that. This is the lowest part of the ear. Most likely, the ear is going to attach higher and come lower. It's going to attach lower and come higher. And we're going to deal with those in just a moment. Okay? Now, before we get into the ears, let's talk a little bit about the chin and the jaw. Okay? Now, the chin is going to have a little bit of a shape to it. Sometimes people have a cleft in their chin. Some people have a pointy chin. Some people have a square chin. So this is a good time to come in and give this chin a little bit of shape. I may give this one a little bit of a cleft to it, just to kind of give it a little personality, kind of a JFK kind of chin right here. Give it a little bit of a cleft. And I'm going to add a little bit of shadow on the underside of this chin to make it look a little more three-dimensional. And then let's talk about the jaw. The jaw is going to come straight down from the ears. So the jaw is going to have a little bit of an angle to it. And this might be a place where you actually add on to that egg. Maybe that egg is really skinny. Maybe you have very little space between the lip and that egg shape. Well, this is a chance for you to angle that out and create more of a jaw. And you want to make sure it's even. So kind of pay attention to where it would be. It would come down from where the ears are going to be. And it'll give it a little more of definition for the jaw. I can get rid of some of that. I can come in and add a little bit of shading at the bottom to kind of give it a little more sense of three dimensions. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is, before I stop, I'm going to add a little bit of a cheekbone, and I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to round this just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to round this just a little bit. Now, some people have really pronounced cheekbones. Some people have really subtle cheekbones. Don't use a really hard, straight line to suggest the cheekbones. Just kind of use a little bit of shading, just a little bit. And some people have really, soft, fleshy features, and they're not going to have really pronounced cheekbones. Some people, they're going to be a little more pronounced. So again, ultimately, you look at the person, but whatever you do, don't use a big hard line. It makes it look like there's some kind of robot, some kind of like transformer or something. And that's not what we're wanting to go for here. So this gives us just a little bit of dimension to the face. And when we come back to the next part of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about ears, which are probably, after the nose, one of the most challenging things to draw.